So judges ready, appoint ready, everyone muted. Okay, so my time start now. We are from the resolution. Technology company using personal data is more beneficial than harmful. Observations, technology company. A technology company is a type of business intended that mainly focus on the development and manufacture of technology products or providing technology as a service. Personal data. Personal data include personal data for sexual performance, religious, and also the IP address of the computer or metadata to pretend this kind of information. Our framework for this round is technology company using personal data is benefit. Mainly on 3 areas: economy, education, and health. These 3 areas are the most important for society. So we consider both society interest and the personal interest. If we can prove that, they would definitely win this debate. Contention 1, data collection can bring economy value. Subpoint dynamic prices. According to Oxford Learning Dictionary, the term dynamic prices means setting different price for different people in an affordable way to maximize the company's and the economic's benefit, but not for lecture goods. At this time, our opponent may ask that they have to pay differently, so they totally unfair. But actually, the money they pay is exactly the same. Administrator Vice President of Amazon Andrews said that in her interview for a New York paper in January 8, 2020, that Amazon is trying a new pattern called dynamic prices to make a suitable price for every customer. There are 30% of the customer already trying this new pattern. Most of the customers say it's a good way to buy products and will maximize advantage, especially for the poor people. The impact is that maximize the benefit, bring huge profits for the company, and the price will not be too high, so it's acceptable to both the rich and poor people. Make people consume more, greatly boost economy. Subpoint B, predict future economy. According to William S., an economist, many methods can be used to analyze data. For example, data for injection and analysis. The analysis can be single variable or multivariable. Animatrix that can predict for the past relationships and economics forecasts. Economics use those models to understand past events and predict future events, such as demand, price, and unemployment. Methods have also been developed to analyze or correct results. Using incomplete end data and multiple errors. The impact is that it will benefit for the economic future. Contention 2, data collection improves different facts of education. According to Aim Roddenstein-Garandia, CEO of data quality company, collecting student data is an important factor to increasing student achievement. The methodology of student data throughout the past decades have been proving extremely beneficial to improving different facts of education. We now have tools that alert academics when students are at risk of falling off track. We have proven that identity for the opportunities for students, she said in her post on Puffington.com. Garandia says student data helps keep both parents and the community in the loop about how schools are serving students. Data helps people within the community compare how schools in the area perform compared against each other. Impact first. As data use progresses, more and more states are using data to track how students are doing after graduation. Second, it will highly increase enrollment rates. Contention 3, infection diseases. The data sources of epidemiologists working in the public health show that there are more factors they must be considered when determining the relevant data sources for thoughtful survey. This includes the objective and scope of the survey, the extent and accessibility of the necessary data, the extent to which data from different sources can actually be combined, the method and feasibility of major data collection, and the resources available. For example, in 2020, the coronavirus broke out and people searched all around the world from Wuhan. Baidu company are doing a great job in 2020's February. They use personal data to gather a group of people within their information, including names, telephone number, trips, location, and so on. The impact here is it's helped the country to control infection and decrease the number of people being infected. In conclusion, because we have considered both society interest and the personal interest, which our pros have already been proven, so please vote for the pro. Thank you.
Okay, so let me set up the timer first. And my time starts now. We negate resolve on balance. Technology companies' use of personal data is more beneficial than harmful. Framework. The debate should be judged on reasons-based morality, focusing on specific events that harms individuals' rights through financial loss, legal ramification, reputational harm, and more. In any case, innocent people should not be hurt. Contention 1, data breaches. Tech companies are vulnerable to data breaches. According to Scott Mason from CIS India 2015, the larger the quantities of confidential information stored by companies on their databases, the more attractive they are to hackers. According to LifeLock's editor 2018, nearly 60 million Americans have been affected by identity theft. According to Alison Rayyan from Tech Republic 2019, 90% of large tech companies are unprotected from hackers' attacks. Looking at specific cases provided by Dan Swinhoe from CSO 2019, 2018. First, in 2013, all 3 billion Yahoo users' real names, email address, date of birth, and telephone numbers were stolen. Second, all 145 million eBay users' information was stolen in 2014. Third, personal information of 57 million Uber users and 600,000 drivers were exposed in 2016. Fourth, 77 million PlayStation Networks accounts were hacked. Estimated losses of $171 million in 2011. Center for Strategic International Studies 2016 estimates the total cost of data breaches to be 15% to 20% of the internet economy, which is worth $2 trillion to $3 trillion every year, according to Nicole Martin from Forbes in 2019. The 2019 data breach investigation reported by Verizon states that 71% of breaches were financially motivated, which indicates that most hackers will sell the information they stole to unknown sources. Equifax data from 2017 will most likely be up for sale on the dark web for years. Contention 2, manipulation. Tech giants use the big data to first, manipulate and mislead people. Second, reinforce people's prejudices. Third, control what people read, see, and buy. Fourth, act without people's permission. According to Martin Gauss from MIT Technology Review 2018, in 2009, it made information about users without their permission. A few years later, Facebook researchers deliberately manipulated 700,000 people's messages to test whether they could influence users' moods without their knowledge. According to Rana Foroohar from The Guardian 2019, Google, Facebook, and Amazon now can set whatever terms they like for customers. This can lead to exploitative pricing and behaviors that put our privacy at risk. Google and MasterCard team up to track whether online ads lead to physical store sales without letting MasterCard holders know they are being tracked. According to Paul Wilson from the University of Manchester in 2005, advertisements are biased source of information. Doctors may feel under pressure to prescribe inappropriate and costly drug even when they feel it is not appropriate to both the patient and the healthcare system. Contention 3, inequality. Subpoint A is racial. According to federal Pelzo from Towards Data Science 2017, several states in the U.S. implemented big data in an algorithm to predict the risk of defendants in court reoffending and use its value as a factor during sentencing. The chance it mislabels Black people's likelihood to commit crime is 2 times higher than white people. According to Michael Brandon from Ford Foundation 2015, Harvard professor Latanya Sweeney directs the university's data privacy lab, conducted a cross-country study of 120,000 internet search ads and found repeated incidents of racial bias. She also found that searching a name related to a Black person on Google will have a higher incidence of an ad about crime popping up. If an employer searches the name of a Black person who is interviewing for a job, the consequence will be imaginable. This is just one of many researchers showing similar bias. Subpoint B, poverty. Schools are now using personal data in the admission process. According to Alvin Chang from Vox 2018, 80% of the richest students can be involved in college, compared to 29% with the poorest students. 54% of the richest students can graduate, compared to 9% with the poorest students. The gap is continuing to grow. Without education, poor students cannot become richer. Their next generation's data will be exploited by the colleges. Therefore, the cycle never ends. Thus, we negate. Thank you. So are you ready for Crossfire?
Yeah, okay.
So
okay,
do you have a question?
Judges ready, opponents ready. Time start now. Okay, first question, can you just give me a clarification of your impact of your cert contention?
Cert contention? So which subpoint or both?
Like both.
Oh, the first one is about racial inequality. So as we already claimed, if you search and name related to Black person on Google, then ads about crime will pop up, whether you commit crime or not. And if an employer searches the name of a Black person who is interviewing for a job, the consequence will be imaginable. This subpoint B about poverty, we're telling you that the personal data collected by tech companies are preventing poor students from going to college, and the cycle never ends. Do you want any more impacts?
No, okay, your time.
Okay, so how much money has been saved according to your contention 1 subpoint A, dynamic price? Like how many people are using it right now? How much money
okay, I got your point. Actually, we already proved that in our contention is that Amazon have already do that in New York, January 8, 2020, and there's 30% of the customers are already trying this new project, and most of them say that this is a good project. This is a good way of buying things.
What about the other 70%? On balance, 70% always 30%, right?
No. The thing is that like there are people are buying things like from Taobao or like some other apps, but you're misunderstanding. The thing is that there's 30% of the customers like in the whole globalized, they're like 30% they're already using this.
Yeah, 70% is still larger than 30%.
No,
right?
No, you're totally misunderstand. There's like not everyone will gonna to use those this new pattern, but it have
that's why it's not global.
Uses. Like because this is a new pattern, so it's already have 30% of the customers they're trying to using this because of
they're
this.
Trying to use, but not yet using it right now. We should only
they are using this right now.
Only 30% of the global population, not the other 70%.
Okay, I got it. Because actually, we're saying the long-term benefit. We need to consider the whole future. So right now, they're only 30%, but actually in the future, we'll be gonna like 50% or like 90%. Yeah.
No, is there any future tense in the resolution that specifies we should also focus on?
But our topic today cannot, like, we need to focus both the long-term benefit and also the short-term benefit.
No, the topic is in present tense. It clearly stated is, not will or will be.
No, but that's the kind of use like we can use those in the future. Like it will benefit for the future. Actually, you can't say like in the tense because like okay, that I will explain.
Whatever you say, the topic specifies present tense, so you shouldn't be arguing about future. So I see the time is up right now, so let's move on to rebuttal.
Do you want prep time?
I think I'm ready now. Okay, so judge ready, appellant's ready. Okay, so pre-side rebuttal speech starts now. Dear judge, I'm the second speaker of the pre-side. Now I'm going to clarify that our appellant's mistake made in the opening speech. For the first contention, we mainly focus on that the technology company use your personal data will hurt personal safety. They argue that the hackers will steal people's personal data, intimate data, so this is completely unsafe. My response: first, companies have heard the words of the public and are fixing the issue. Tech market like CSUN are making improvements to their product to protect users' privacy. And we can show you the evidence that CSUN made a new app for the smart TV called Privacy Choice. This app have the ability to show that how this television is tracking the users. And if you don't want to share those personal data with those tech companies, you could just turn it off, which means that our opponent's first contention is all based on that the consumers, they have no choice to choose whether they share their personal data or not. However, dear judge, I just show you the case that those consumers, they have the right to do it. If they think it is violation of their privacy, then they could definitely turn it off, right? Second, too much privacy will only make data impossible to use. If we want data benefit our society, then the requirement of use shouldn't be too restrictive. Otherwise, any of the tech company, they cannot do any research. And dear judge, one thing you need to realize is that our pre-side is not saying that the data is completely good. We agree that here are some of the disadvantage of the data, but it is more beneficial. And in fact, most of the tech companies are using our personal data to benefit ourselves. Just like our first data shows that it will bring more than $10 million for the society and market. And it will bring like a better consumer experience or predict what we need. And so many things that benefit fundamental area of the society, which directly impact everyone. Therefore, since it is impossible for tech company to totally avoid some of the violation of their personal data, then it should be permissible for them to collect data and give a better service for ourselves. That's all my rebuttal for the first contention. Move to second. They mainly focus on the monopolists. However, dear judge, we completely agree that the monopolists already exist in the market. However, our opponents only see that the impact of the monopolists, but it didn't clarify that why it's the data makes a monopolist, right? We just have the case shows that Google's computer, Microsoft and Yahoo are once were giants in research engine, and they could take over the whole market if the research engine were more effective. However, neither of them did that. What does that mean? That means that their technical level were not powerful enough. Therefore, we just show the case to show that data isn't the main reason cause monopolies, but the expansion and technical level is. So therefore, Judge, our opponent's second contention is completely unstable because it didn't show the clear links that why it's the data causing monopolies. They only show the impact of the monopolies. Move to the third contention. It's quite similar for the first one. It's about the user's privacy. Like it will hurt the user's choice, the human right. However, we have the evidence shows that worldwide consumers, they are willing to trade their personal data for lower price. According to Tesla article, financial service consumers are willing to share their personal data for benefit and discourse. In March 18, 2019, consumers are willing to share their data with financial institutions in exchange for improved service, which means that our opponents always say that, oh, come on, the consumers, they're weak, they have no choice. However, they are willing to share it in exchange for some of the other benefit, which means that if they think the use of personal data is a violation, they could just turn it off, right? Why they still share it? Therefore, the whole case of our opponent's contention doesn't stand because all the basis is that the users have no choice. But I just use the whole rebuttal to clarify that they do have the choice, and the tech company use data to benefit them. So for all these reasons and more, we affirm their solution and we urge all the tier judges to vote for the evidence. Thank you.
Can I use 1 minute prep time to check source?
Yeah, of course, sure.
Can you show me the source about dynamic crisis January 18th, 2020?
Okay, just wait a minute. I'll
Like,
just send
do we
it.
need to read that or just
Send me the link in the chat. Thank you.
Sorry, what? Hey, can you hear me?
Can you send a link to the chat box to your evidence?
But here, why you want some of the link? We show you the source and the evidence. What we want the link?
It's your obligation to provide that.
Yeah, we connect this data from the research packet, and
I will send you that. That is like that is a PDF. So actually, I can send them tomorrow, but I will send you some keywords in the chat. Yeah, but actually, I'm using an iPad, so how can I send that? Wait.
Do you need to share your screen?
Actually, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Like, we can read that for you if you want, because this piece of
it's
on
fine.
my computer.
Yeah, sure, it's fine.
Okay.
I think I'm ready. My time starts. Sorry. Just 1 second. My time. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Is everybody ready? My time starts now. At the beginning of my rebuttal speech, I would like to respond to my opponent's framework about economy, education, and health. While those things are certainly important, our framework is reason-based morality. We believe that innocent and vulnerable people should not be harmed to benefit anyone. Second, we believe that status quo impacts are the most important impacts in this debate. Moving on to contention 1 about dynamic pricing. We have 2 responses for this. First, unfair and unrealistic. Our opponents are talking about an idealistic method where if you don't have money, you can pay less. Where you have more money, you can pay more. However, first, this is unfair for the rich. Why do they have to pay more for the same product? This doesn't make sense. Second, this is unrealistic. If I have no money and I walk in the store, does that mean I can take things for free? Absolutely not. This is unrealistic for economy, and this is not an economic model. Second, there is a very low adoption rate. For example, according to Amazon, there's only 1 company that actually adopted it, and it's in the US. Therefore, it has a very, very small impact. Moving on to subpoint B, analysis. We have 1 response. And analysis only benefits the company. It does not benefit the entire society. The economic benefits are only to the company. Therefore, the beneficiary is extremely small. Moving on to contention 2. We have 2 responses. First, if our opponents are specifying about grade, schools are actually already tracking students' grades, students' check-in, etc. in status quo without spending billions of dollars on some type of technology. Second, students did not know or give consent to the university to use their personal data. This is unfair and unlawful, immoral for the university to track their personal data. And second, even if students realize that universities are tracking their data, students are losing consent because they cannot say no to an authority such as the university, which has full control of their personal data already, according to New York Times. And finally, our opponent's impact is tracking students' grade. This impact, as I have already said, is already happening in status quo. And second, this is unfair to the admission rate, as my cross-referencing to our contention 3, my partner has already specified that actually universities are taking the top 1% of the world just for money, etc., and they're not letting those poor students graduate. And moving on to contention 3, healthcare. Judge, our opponents are trying to tell you that healthcare can be beneficial. However, this is wrong for 2 reasons. First, healthcare, this is wrong for 7 reasons. First, healthcare is not a direct usage of personal data by tech companies. Most data is controlled inside hospitals and used by hospitals instead of tech companies. Second, this is not a unique benefit. EHRs can be both established by hospitals and tech companies. Generally, hospitals also establish EHRs during on-lab visits. Third, in this specific case, the coronavirus was contained via ID card, which is actually a government use of personal data. This is not within our discussion range since the topic wording specified tech companies' use of personal data. Fourth, wearable devices are generally created for the rich and wealthy class. For example, according to Fitbit.com/CN, Fitbit costs around 1,600 RMB, while the average monthly income after tax in China is around 2,300 RMB. This device can only benefit the rich and wealthy class in a society, causing severe inequality, while the public will not be offered such opportunities. 5, it is hard to perform the same surgical tasks at home than in hospitals, therefore telemedicine doesn't work. 6, extra insurance fees for minority. Alan Marshall 2018, minorities and women are charged extra in different parts of insurance fees based on innate discriminatory beliefs. LexisNexis publicly announced to use over 70 million accounts for personal information for this purpose. And 7, healthcare requires money and with huge financial losses. With 58.6% of minorities uninsured, we can't risk to raise the insurance fees any higher. For all these reasons, we urge for a
Time's up.
out. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'm ready if my opponents were.
Sure.
Okay, so
I believe you have the first question.
Okay, my first question starts now. So in your second contention, you mainly focus on the monopolist point, right? So my question is that give me a link that why it's the proprietary data costs the monopolist, because we just point out that the Google's—
Our manipulation is not specifically economic manipulation, etc., and you've clearly misunderstood. Our explanation, Judge, is that companies, after gaining personal data, can actually have exploitations in their rules due to users' privacy, and that is manipulation. And according to targeted ads, they only show you what they wanted to show you. That is also manipulation. Does that answer your question?
So your second contention mainly focus on that the tech companies, they only shows what they want, so it is kind of manipulation, right?
No, that is one point. That is one point.
Okay, good points.
Actually, all the manipulation is first, manipulate and mislead people, as I've said. Second, reinforce people's prejudices, cross-contention to cross-reference to contention 3. 3, control what people read, see, and buy, which is similar to the first one. And 4, act without people's permission.
So how do you explain to my response in the rebuttal? Because I just clarify evidence that if you think those information it's a violation, then you could turn it off. How do you explain that?
How can you turn it off? Not all tech companies offer to turn it off. Some companies actually just take your data without even your consent.
First of all,
let me finish.
You never saw any of the
some will change their policy and not act upon their policy.
Sorry, but I just give you evidence about like the Susan. It's a huge company, right? They are making improvement, and it is a great case. Shows that those huge companies, they are taking action, right? And they make some
No, they're not taking action because we have.
They're not taking action. So
Also,
how do you explain the case of the Susan?
We're telling you that actually companies are taking people's data without consent, and they're having some irregular rules.
Okay, here's the point. Here's the point. We just show you the evidence that.
So you just had a 1.5-minute question. I believe I should have the same. Now moving on to my question. You said your rebuttal for contention 1 is that you think tech companies can bring $10 million for society. Is the $10 million like for the company or for the society?
First of all, I think you totally misunderstanding about our point. Just show you, like in the rebuttal speech, you totally drop our sub-point B about predict the economy. You only
Sorry, we did. This is dishonest debate. I did respond to that.
First of all, the 10 billion here we're showing is already happened or
No, you said 10 million, or is it 10 million or 10 billion?
10 billion.
Okay, is that for the society or for the company itself?
Okay, here's the point. You need to realize that our first contention is about both the economy for the society and the market.
Sorry, this is a yes or no question. In my rebuttal speech, he talked about companies can bring $10 billion for society. Is this for society or companies?
Yeah, we just
like
show you that
profit?
for society and the markets. We're not saying that only
So
for
for the
tech
market,
companies, right?
how is it
Because
shown?
they
How is
bring
it
money,
distributed?
it's also for the consumer.
How is it distributed? Sorry, this is a yes or no
The
question.
companies.
Is it distributed via education, via taxing?
Right, but we're
And I
Time's
say
up.
that the time is up.
What are you
Thank you.
talking about the education part?
Summary. Or do you need that time?
We want to use 1.5 minutes prep time. Yeah, thank you.
Time's up.
Okay, sorry, I muted myself. Okay. Pro side summary. Judges ready. Opponents ready. My time start now. Okay, so first, let me talk about some main clashes that happen in this debate right now. First, about term. In the crossword, our opponent said that we just focus right now. We can't consider the long-term benefit. Then actually, their three contention makes no sense. Just for example, their monopoly point. Like just for example, their second contention of manipulation. Like right now, they have no harms, but actually it will harm you in the future. So that I can't get that why our opponent has said that we just focus right now. We need to focus on the long-term benefit. Okay, so second about the dynamic prices. Actually, they're misunderstand. Dynamic prices means setting different price for different people in an affordable way, which means that both support and both support and rich people will afford, and also it will help the economy. So actually, there are already 30% are trying this new pattern because of this is a new pattern. So there are 30% of people they're trying it, and most of the people say that this is a good pattern. They want to use those new patterns. Okay, third about privacy. In their whole case, they're mainly focused on their personal privacy. But actually, if we close the privacy so much that we can't do anything, and also we can turn it off all the time because we can control by ourselves. Dear judges, you need to realize that those things we can control by ourselves. So actually, the thing that they're concerned about have no ease. Okay, so let's move on to our case. About our first contention is that collection can bring economy values. The both subpoints are saying that it will help the economy, and we have two subpoints. First is dynamic prices, which have been already explained. Second, about predict future economy, which my opponents have never rebutted. They've dropped this important contention. Actually, these 2 points are in like increasing the economy. It will boost the economy. Okay, our second contention is data collection improves different facets of education. The impact here is that it will highly increase the enrollment rate. Enrollment rate is something that really is a way to judge if this society is good or not, or this city is good or not. And actually the privacy, like this data that we are using now here, it is just like what is their student's name and what is their age and what is their class or what is their grade. So these things are something that really simple that cannot really to like hurt their personal privacy. So move on to our third contention of infectious diseases, which our opponents have misunderstanding and rebutted around in their rebuttal. Actually, we already proven example, like in 2020 right now, the coronavirus have been broke out and people search all around the world from Wuhan. And Baidu company in January, they used those personal data to gather a group of people with their names, informations, telephone numbers, trips, and so on. Actually, it will already help the country to control the infection and decrease the number of people being infected because the professor already predicted that this coronavirus will like continue to the summary, but actually we have like just control right now. So dear judges, because we're doing public forum debate, so our 30 evidence correlating impact the way to judge who won this debate. So please vote for the pro. Thank you.
I think you've muted your mic. Hello?
Oh,
Andy, you didn't open your mic.
oh, sorry, I muted myself when I was giving the speech. So my time starts now. So before I start my speech, I would like to clarify that I'll talk about some general clarifications first, and I will move down to major issues. First, we should only argue about status quo. Since the topic specifies the present tense is, we should only focus on present impacts, not any speculative impacts in the future that might or might not happen. Second, we are not arguing whether personal data collection is permissible. We are arguing whether it's more beneficial than harmful. Is it permissible? Yes, because you click on the user agreement. But is it more beneficial than harmful? No, because we are proving the harm to you now. Sir, since our opponents didn't respond to our framework, we should adopt ours. That is reasons-based morality. Moving down to the major issues. The first major clash point is economy and data breach. Our opponents claim that claiming their subpoint A that dynamic price can be made possible, but we gave you two responses already. First, it's unfair, unrealistic. Companies won't risk their profits for benefiting the poor people or harming the rich people. Second, it's only Amazon. Amazon is only one out of thousands of tech companies. On balance, only one out of thousands of tech companies are using this feature right now. So we should not take this point into account. Second, they talk about how we can predict future economy, but we have two responses as well. First, this future impact. We should only focus on status quo impact. So in the impact wise, this should not be considered. Second, it's only benefiting the companies, not the customers. Benefits, the companies are the minority in the world. There aren't that many big tech giants in the world, and there are many customers, however. So we should focus on the larger scale of people, and we should win them by weighing the impact, because we are proving you that $2 to $3 trillion are being data breached every year. And our opponents rebutted by saying that there's an app. But again, we're not arguing whether it's permissible to collect data or not. We're arguing whether it's more beneficial than harmful. Then they say tech companies are improving right now. But as we have given our constructive speech, that the fact is 90% of large tech companies are unprotected from data breaches. And they again say that too many privacy will make data impossible, but this is just completely nonsense. We're not blocking all data collection, we're only blocking the tech companies' collection of personal data. And the second major issue is about education and manipulation. We can cross-apply our manipulation point to their point about education, because the fact is that many Black people are not enjoying this benefit right now, and they answer by saying it's not caused by data, but data is exacerbating this problem right now. And they completely dropped and misunderstood our contention 3 about inequality. We're telling you that first, the Black people are discriminated in a court and they're sentenced more severely because of personal data usage by tech companies. Second, the Black company, the poor people are forced to not attending school and not graduating because of the collection of personal data. So on balance, not many people can enjoy the benefits our opponents provided. On balance, innocent people are harmed right now. This is why on balance we should win. Thank you.
Do you need prep time?
No.
Can we have a quick clarification before you have your first question?
I'm sorry, but I don't think it's permissible.
That's okay. You can have your first question.
Okay, so 3 minutes. Judges ready. Opponents ready. Okay, so my time start now. Okay, because of you said that we can just focus right now. So how can the privacy hurt people right now?
Privacy is hurting people right now.
So can you
Sorry.
give me a specific case?
Yeah, here's the
Sure,
point.
our entire
You always
case is
focus
about
on that. We should focus on the status quo.
Can you give us a
evidence
chance to answer?
Status quo. Yeah.
Can you give
Yeah,
us a
please
chance to
give it.
answer? Okay.
Okay,
Actually,
so
we're
just answer
telling
that.
you.
Can you give us a chance to answer? It's getting annoying now.
Answer.
So according to Alvin Chang from Vox 2018, 80% of the richest students can be involved in college compared to 29% with the poorest students. And this is all because personal data collection by tech companies. Do you want
Trillions of dollars are being lost each
but
year,
here's the
also due
point.
to the same reason. And people are not receiving, the vulnerable people and minorities are not receiving fair insurances because of the same reason. How are you saying in the status quo they're not being harmed?
first
They're
of all-
absolutely being harmed.
Okay, first of all, the things you were mentioning is like a third contention about the discrimination. However,
Sorry, you had a
the-
1 minute question. Can we have our questions?
but you totally misunderstanding, which means you answered our question wrongly.
No, we did not misunderstand. Your question was.
We're asking the question about the privacy. How do privacy hurt? You show the discrimination part. Right?
Okay, $2 to $3 trillion
No,
are lost to
this
data
is
breaches
hard.
every year.
Sorry, first of all, $10 trillion is not linked to the personal data. You only show
It
the
is.
Yes,
but
it
you
is.
did clarify the link to the topic. It's the
Data
tech company
breaches.
use of personal data.
Yeah, data
Sorry, I
breaches.
think it's our question now.
Okay,
My
sure.
question is, in 2020, how is the coronavirus contained? Is it contained by ID card or
Okay, I
like
get your point.
other things?
Just like what you mentioned in your opening speech, that you said that we have the ID cards, the government will do that. However, we're just showing the opening speech that the company like Baidu, they already good job that they analyze the data and they share those data with the person, with the government. And by
No, the
definition-
government knew these data in the first place. They knew
Yeah.
your phone number and your ID card in the first place.
I'm
It
sorry,
has
but
no
not
relevance
sorry,
to tech
not
companies
only including
whatsoever.
this.
No, can you let me finish?
No, I'm sorry.
Please
I
let
think
me
you're
finish.
misunderstanding my point. So can I just clarify about it?
Sure.
Okay. Our third contention mainly focus on the controller disease. It's a patent is that like the tech companies see like know where you have been before, like you have been into Wuhan, that you might have the dangerous, and that's why we need to take action.
Isn't that being
not
done by
only your
government via ID
your
card?
address.
No, they have like no link to the ID card because of that.
How can you know that
Yes,
the
they
ID
do.
How
Because
many
they
people
don't-
are saved by this method right now?
No,
How many people are
actually,
saved?
my question is,
Okay.
how do
A
they
simple
track your
question. Okay,
itinerary?
a simple question. Can I
How
have
do
it?
they track your itinerary? This is a simple question requiring a one-word
Sorry,
answer.
my question is really simple. Just give me a case that why it is.
No, it's my question. You refuse to answer.
Yeah,
Like, because,
How do they
Alex,
track
totally
your
misunderstanding
itinerary?
about the points. We're just
Because you're taking
clarify about
train.
it.
How do they track your itineraries?
So how do you
Actually,
find the information? Oh,
Judge,
we
since
sorry,
our
I
opponents
focus-
refuse to
focus on
answer,
the
we
ID
can tell you
card.
that they track via ID card. It has no relevance to tech company, and I say that time is up.
No.
Final seconds.
I want to use off the time.
Use up all the prep time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm ready. Okay, so judge ready, opponents ready, Precise final focus starts now. Dear judge, now I'm going to clarify that why your Precise should definitely win debate. Back to our opening speech, that our winning condition for this round is we can prove that technology company use of personal data is more beneficial for society interest and personal interest, which is for three fundamental and most important area: economy, education, and public health. Then we should definitely win this debate. Dear judges, during the whole debate, we use clear logic, authoritative evidence, and huge impact to clarify that why we are right in different arguments. But instead, our opponents, the answer of the question in the crossfire is completely wrong. Just like we ask the evidence for like which company they already did it. They show me the reason why they did it. So for this reason, is that they do not directly answer our point, which means that their contention is completely unstable. And one thing of the I going to clarify is about the our third contention, control the disease. He said that the government could only solely based on the ID card, then we just solve the problem. However, dear judge, I think they completely misunderstanding about this point. Can we know that where you have been before in the recent day, only focus on your ID card? No, definitely not. But the tech company, they could do it. They know that where you have been traveled from, like you take the train, you take the plane, then we know where you have been traveled from, and then we could take action on you. And most important, judge, they mentioned about the ID card. However, ID card is a kind of the data, and the technology company, they use it, they were doing it better than the government. We just show you that to Baidu, they offer the help and share the personal data with the government. So it is a kind of use of the tech company. Is that we don't have the link, but we just show you the clear link. So dear judge, if you care about the interest of the society and every citizen, then the Precise should win this debate. If you want to increase students' achievement in order to help the students build a better future, just like our second constitution proved, then you should vote for the Precise. If you really want to control the coronavirus more effective and save thousands of lives, then vote for Pro. Thank you.
I believe I'm ready. Everyone ready? My time, sorry, 1 second, please. Let me start my timer. My time starts now. Judge, our framework is reason-based morality. We believe that innocent and vulnerable should not be harmed to benefit anyone. We believe the innocent and vulnerable should not be harmed in any situation. Therefore, our framework is more prior to theirs. And there are 4 reasons exactly why, Judge, we should win this debate as the con side. First, dynamic pricing. Our opponent's dynamic pricing contention doesn't make sense because it is unfair and unrealistic. If I'm broke, do I just walk in the store and pay nothing to grab things? That is ridiculous. And why does the rich have to pay more for the same product simply because they're rich? That doesn't make any sense as well. Therefore, this is unfair and unrealistic. This doesn't match the economic model of today. And second, we should weigh our opponent's contention. One subpoint be analysis with data breach. And then our opponents are talking about analysis can bring $10 billion for society. But Judge, we're telling you that $10 billion are not for society. They're for the corporation. They're not for the entire society. And when we ask our opponents how it can benefit the society, our opponents refuse to give a response. Second, even if you don't buy this, Judge, we're telling you trillions of dollars, even more than 10 billion, times and times more than 10 billion, trillions of dollars are exploited every year simply because of data breach. This already outweighed their analysis contention. Moving on to contention 2, weighing with poor rich education and manipulation. First, students gave no consent to the school for using their data, social media data. Second, we're talking about poor rich unfairness. Rich students can graduate while poor could not. Rich students could get in while poor could not. This is unfair and because of data tracking. And finally, our opponents are talking about grade tracking. That is already what schools do. It has nothing to do with today's debate. Schools already track your grades. Schools already track your age. All these things. Finally, weighing healthcare and inequality. First, government tracking ID for the coronavirus. We're telling you ID card is government information, and this is how government tracks. For all these reasons, we urge for a calm ballot. Thank you.
Okay, judges, you can announce the winner using just open your microphone, and if you are willing, you can just give some comment. Okay, now you can see the table on the screen, and just now one of the judge has told me about her choice of the winner, and the rest of the judge, please tell me the winner you think, and if you are willing, you can just give some comment. Judges, can you hear me?
Yes, hold on a
Yeah,
second.
we can hear you.
Okay. If you're ready, you can just open your microphone and tell me.
Okay. So I'm ready.
Yeah.
So based on my findings, the corn team is the winner of this debate.
Calm, right? And okay, there is also a judge chooses pro, and there are two judges haven't told me about your choice.
Right, so I just submitted the result on WeChat Mini program, and I think I'll just give some brief comments on this finals round. So first, congratulations on both teams for making it to finals. I know it's hard, it's online tournament, and you get both teams are very competitive in terms of delivery, in terms of choices of evidence and cards and logic and all that. But then there has to be a winner, sadly to say. And for me, I voted Khan at the end of this debate, and here's why. So I voted for Khan mostly because of the framework, because the pro side didn't rebut Khan's framework. So I assume that this debate follows a comparison on morality and on evaluation of specific events. In other words, I think what both teams kind of agreed upon for the judges to vote on is whichever side best prioritizes morality and benefits the most vulnerable stakeholders in the society win this debate. So moving on to specific arguments, there are some of the arguments that I want specifically to talk about. So first is the one on infectious diseases, the coronavirus, and the use of Baidu to track people down. So at the end of the debate, I'm still bought into Kansai's argument talking about the thing being personal ID rather than Baidu being the initiator or the action taker in the coronavirus outbreak. Because think about it, if you make a sentence, it's personal data is used to track people down. So the initiator is still the person who track people down, which is the government. So here, I'd rather say that the Baidu app is like a means to which the government achieve its end, but the government is like the ultimate controller there to use personal data. And then second, I think the largest impact still lies on the con side is about economy. They talk about how I think billions of dollars are being lost because of personal data leakages. And I think that is relatable to their own framework because their evidence all talks about, let's say, Yahoo, Uber users, so the general public as a whole. Other than that, I think one thing that can be improved in this debate is like is especially in Grand Cross, it's actually really hard to tell which side is telling what to the judges. It's gone a whole lot messy and everyone seems to be talking at the same time. This is very unfriendly, especially when considering we're on a Zoom app. So I think this can be improved future, and best of luck to both teams.
Judge Kai Ling Sun, have you decided the winner? Sorry, I cannot hear you. Sorry, I cannot hear you. And can you just type in the chat room? Okay, get it. So here on the screen is the result and count wins. And if there are any judges want to give some comments and feedbacks.
Oh, okay. And I think I wrote some few feedbacks and the response about protein. You've all done well. You've all done a great job. And then I think it was a good debate. But with the protein, So I was expecting that when the con team brought forth their claims, you would have been able to, for instance, on the Amazon issue of about 30% to 70%, the pro team were able to, the con team were able to prove that 70% outweighs 30%. So if you were in a debate, you should give figures that if it's on the balance, it's either you are giving a balance or you are giving more greater impact. Otherwise, it will go against you. And then the second speaker for pro, I think one of the things you all need to learn is that you should allow your opponents to make their points so that the judges can hear what you are saying. If all of you talking, or even if it's not your turn, or even if it's your turn to talk and the person is still talking, you should just allow your opponent to finish with whatever he or she is saying before you come in. Constant interruption is not a good thing. Then to the con team, one of your points on the disease control or infectious disease control, by as mentioned by the pro, and then you mentioned government uses IDs to track. And I think one of the examples they gave was this particular pandemic, the coronavirus outbreak. I think you have done well, but then I was expecting that you could say the realities on the ground. Even though the government eventually used Badu as a means, but what is really working for the containment of this outbreak is not tech companies, it's the government laying bans on people to move out, you stay indoors. Staying indoors is not the use of tech companies, it's government just telling everybody to stay indoors, you don't have to move out. So staying indoors is different from, tech companies, I don't know, yeah. And if you want to compare the situation right now, China and US has a lot of tech giants, and then China also, but then you see how the situation is being managed. It's a complete lockdown, especially on Wuhan, to contain the disease, but then if you look at US, it's not every state that is on complete lockdown, or even on some were just on partial lockdown. So I was expecting the con team to bring this up, that it's not the technologies that are being used, even though you did a great job. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay. The first two judges said most of what I wrote, but I just want to bring to the attention of the con team a key point of contention that you need to consider in the future. Your argument against the $10 billion. You were merely concerned to know whether the $10 billion was for the companies or it was for the society. Now think about it. Do we believe that when a company makes a lot of profit, that company is able to expand operations? And if operations are expanded, do we also believe that the companies could employ people? And do you believe that when those people are employed, then there's a trickle-down effect, positive trickle-down effect on the society? Think about that, so that just in case you have this kind of argument coming forth in future debates. Also think about social corporate responsibilities. Most companies have social corporate responsibilities to places where they are located. So when those companies make a lot of money, definitely they are going to also perform those corporate social responsibilities. So think about that in that sense. Now, for the pro team, you did a great job, especially from the beginning of the debate. You did an excellent piece of work. However, like my colleague said, when it came to outweighting your impact on the Amazon debate you mentioned, 30-70, and looking at the title of the debate, on balance, at least we should be fighting for a 50-50 argument. Although it is 30-70, if I was arguing for you, the pro team, I would be arguing that if Amazon could achieve 30%, and if policies are put into place with Google and other tech companies, and they are also able to achieve similar percentage, we will then ensure that there is a greater percentage that will be achieved at a sooner possible date. However, I know that your opponent would have argued that what you are saying is the future, but then nothing starts from the present. I mean, nothing starts at once. It is just as good as you want it to be. It must continue up to the future. So that could be a reliance you give. And then when it came to the inequality argument, the argument that the core team brought about inequality, about school, about race, about whatsoever, I felt that the pro team, your argument to that argument was not that very solid like I expected you would have done to counter them. But how be that as it may, both of you were very good teams, and there was no mistake that you came to the final. It's just that when we go to a final game, there must be a winner. So SDU HS FW, you are a good team, and I wish you continue. But it's just that for today, in my opinion, I felt that YK Pao was a better one. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the judging.
Thanks for judging us.
Thank you, Judge.